Hello, everybody, and welcome to Season 4, Round 4 of the PHG Gran Turismo World Series. I'm joined today in the booth with my friend Mustang Chuck and the proprietor of PHG.
We are, obviously, Season 4, Round 4. We are over halfway of the season, y'all. It is a 60-minute race. We are at Road Atlanta. Tires are 2 times on the wear. Fuel is 2 times with a 3 second per liter refuel rate. We will be in the GT1 and the GT3 cars. And the theme this week is Audi versus Porsche.
The first driver we have is Florinoda. This is all in GT1. Next one up, we've got Wit from Sector 7 Racing. Next is B-Peps. After that, we've got PHG's own Sheldologist. After that, we've got Sector 7's Detritus Serum. Following that, we've got Talon. After that, we've got Miss Covington. And then in the GT3 class 1, we've got Jorge Sr. Following that, we've got K. Naranjo. After that, we've got Sector 7's Hovercraft. Following that, we've got Drobo. Sector 7's Nuke follows Drobo. And then we've got Sector 7's Mr. Racing 40. And lastly, we've got VIP Cornbread.
Going to get this one underway, see how well all these Group 1 cars get through Group 1 and get through those S's. Like you mentioned, Papa, it's going to be a few laps before they start catching those Group 3 cars. They're going to have some time to just kind of turn in some laps. Let's see, you know, if they're going to pull a gap between each other or not. And there we go. We are green, green, green. Off we go, headed down the front stretch towards that tricky turn 1 as we watch Florinoda get just a little bit on the brakes. Almost goes through it full throttle, big lift, but then goes flying through there. Has a little bit of a gap to Wid, but Wid, starts to close it as they get through that first right-hander. Now they're entering the S's. Here they go, just really smooth through there. The Group 1 cars with so much grip can just fly through those S's really with no problem at all. But that last corner there, that when they have that hill, that's the one to really look out for. And here's the bottom of the turkey leg that we were talking about. Got to carry some speed through here. There's a little bit of a possible passing zone there, but you got to hit it just right if you're going to be able to do that. Looks like Florinoda's getting a little bit of a gap to Wid. Surprise there. Back in, looks like 3rd, 4th, 5th, we got them all bunched up. Papa, what are they looking at as far as tire strats?
I was just going to say, all of the GT1 cars just are on racing mediums. Nobody started on the softs. For the Group 3 cars, we have Jorge is on the softs and Cornbread. So first and last in the Group 3 car are on the softs. Everybody else on the track is on racing mediums to start this race.
All right, if we check in with our Group 3 class, we've got Oak here leading the field. Or no, Jorge's up leading the field, but he's got a 2.5 second gap to Oak here in P9. Mr. K. Naranjo. Hovercraft right behind, though. Sector 7 Racing only a half second off. Kind of being a pest there, trying to keep it in the slipstream range. We haven't seen a lot of battles on track yet. We just saw that first lap. A little bit of side-by-side as we got to the end of the first lap. But after that, they seem to have kind of gone single file from here on out. Got Drobo back here in P11. Mr. Racing not too far behind, only a second. All right, we go up and we check in with Oak here. Still running in P9. Looks like Jorge is really running away with it here in the GT3 class. He's got a 4.5 second gap over Oak, who still has Hovercraft well in tow. As we finish up lap 4 here.
Yeah, remember,
GT1 cars are
Jorge's the other one that started on the racing soft, so that could explain a little bit why he's pulling away.
Yep, we certainly have seen him pull away from the field in the past. Likes to lay down that raw speed and just run some time trial laps. He'll switch over to that softer compound, and we'll see if the likes of Oak can start to rein him in once we get to that point. But until then, he's just putting down some time here. The Group 1 cars are starting to get caught up. Looks like the Group 3s are just exiting. Most of them are exiting the S's, whereas the Group 1 cars are entering the S's, so it's not going to be much longer before we're going to start seeing that speed difference and a lot of passing taking place. and the Group 3s are on the front stretch. He's probably gonna be catching them just as they get to the S's, which is probably the exact wrong time. We're gonna see just how patient some of these Group 1 drivers can be. And there they are. There's the back of the Group 3 field, and there we are, right at the S's. So gonna try to get through here, see if he can either thread the needle or just kind of tuck in behind. Looks like he is going to try to go for a pass as we get into the final corner. Slows both of them down. That allowed Wid to look less than 0.2 of a second, right up on his bumper. I mean, that's navigating the lap traffic. Florinota did the right thing and was patient for quite a bit, but Wid was able to just follow him right there. And then now on the long stretch, we got 3 Group 1 cars, 1, 2, 3. Those Group 1s are going to go just flying right by him. Tuck into that slipstream, see if they can grab a little bit off the Group 1 cars, but now as they enter the chicane, Florinota still has a decent enough lead. Holding off Wid for now, catching up to Hovercraft. Going to put Hovercraft a lap down. And then Wid, gets caught out, goes off into the grass to get around Hovercraft. That was a tough one. Wid was on the outside as they were going through that corner. And I don't know if Hovercraft didn't see him coming, but ran it really wide there. Wid able to take the evasive action and maintain control of the car. And now Wid is stuck behind Oak here as we get through the S's, allowing Florinota to get that gap back that he lost on the previous lap. All right, we're going to have the replay here of that pass that Wid was making on Hovercraft here. You can see as he approaches, just goes to the outside. Continues to float it on by. That could have been bad. That could have been bad.
Yeah, it's definitely very hard in any of these cars, but most especially in these Group 1 cars. You taste a little bit of that grass, then you're usually going to end up going sideways. So kudos to him for being able to keep the car in a straight line and make that pass.
Jorge with a 9-second lead after only 8 laps, but has Miss Covington coming up on him here, getting through the chicane. Miss Covington should be able to put them a lap down. Yep, goes to the inside, easy pass. The nice thing about having all that grip is that as you come into this final corner, the Group 1s can drive around the Group 3 cars. The Group 3s, if you keep it pinned, there really only is one line. I mean, you need to do the outside, inside, outside, and you pretty much use the whole track. Same thing with turn 1. Those guys, the Group 1 cars need to remember that there's sometimes where the Group 3s are not going to be able to get out of the way, and they're not supposed to get out of the way. They're supposed to maintain a predictable racing line.
Right, and it's the faster car's job to make a safe pass.
Exactly. And that's where the S's get so tricky because, the racing line is basically to keep blocking the road. You go side to side. That gets tricky.
Mm-hmm.
Sector 7 Wid, maintaining that gap, staying within slipstream with Florinota.
Yeah, I've been watching these the last couple of laps, and Florinota seems to be really good through Sector 1. Coming up through the S's there. But Wid gets really good drive down at the bottom of that turkey leg, those 2 turns, coming onto that back stretch. He's able to close back in on him there. But it all seems to balance out right about the end of the lap. Stay right about that 9/10 to a second gap between the 2.
There you go. We saw Florinota eat up that curb a little bit as he's approaching lap traffic again. Let's stay on board with him, see how he navigates this. Catches these guys right at the right time. Now that we're on this short straightaway, easily gets by Newton. He's going to get to Drobo and past him just in the braking zone. No problem there. But Wids appears to have caught them exactly at the wrong time. Has to get that pass done on Nuke at the bottom of the turkey leg. It was a good pass. Then had to stay tucked in behind Drobo as they got onto the straightaway. You can see that gap. It was, at about a second. It's now a second and a half.
Yeah.
Florinota going to pass and get around Mr. Racing before the braking zone, so timed that perfectly. Still has a gap of about 1.4 seconds. looks like Florinota on this last lap got pretty lucky catching the cars just at the right time. Unfortunately, Wid not so lucky. Whoa, almost got in the back of Oak there.
Yeah, Oak has actually gotten, Hovercraft has actually gotten past Oak here in the last lap. And Oak was, he was sliding pretty good coming from turn 1 there. But having a little handling issue.
Yeah, it looked like as Florinota was trying to get around outside and had to take evasive action not to get into the back of him. Might have touched him just a tad, but bit of a Code Brown moment there.
Code Brown.
We've all definitely had some of those. I always bring it up, racing in VR, everything's just much more intense. You think it looks close here on what I always call the broadcast view, but if you're down in VR or even in bumper cam, everything just looks haywire and crazy. If you're any kind of experienced in VR, you know what I'm talking about.
Looks like Pete Paps there had picked up a 1-second penalty somewhere along the way and is now back in P7. So in last place in the Group 1 pack, he was running in what? I think it was in 3rd position, was he not?
3rd, 4th, yeah. Yeah, no, you're right. He was in 3rd. He was behind Wid.
So yeah, something big must have happened that's put Pete Paps quite a ways back.
Yeah.
All right, so let's think about this. If we do the math, we're coming up to the 20-minute mark. And at about the 20-minute mark, it looks like he'll have gone through a half a tank of fuel. So that means they're going to need about 1.5 tanks of fuel to make this work. That means possibly he could fill up the mediums or put the mediums on, fill the tank all the way up. That could take them all the way to the end. This could be a one-stop race.
Yeah, I agree.
Hovercraft kind of maintaining that gap. Looks like the lead hasn't continued to go up, which again, as we were talking about, Jorge is probably starting to feel the effects of those tires pretty good by now. The racing softs might be on par with the racing mediums at this point in the race. Jorge hit the pits, as we expected, right around that 20-minute mark. We checked in with Jorge. It looks like he still only has half a tank of fuel, running another stint on the racing softs. So did not switch to the racing mediums. Papa, can you remind us, are racing mediums required, or are the racing mediums and racing softs just allowed?
No, racing softs and racing mediums are required.
All right, so Jorge looking at a 2-stop strat. We have seen him do this before, where he puts in an extra pit stop, but still runs away from the field. He's going to have more time on the racing softs for sure, doing it this way, and we'll just run a 20-minute stint probably on the racing mediums, unless he can make the tires and fuel last a little bit longer. Maybe he only has to do 15 minutes on the racing mediums.
Now, Cornbread did pit as well, and went to the racing mediums, but he also took no.
Saw a bit of a bump there from Jorge. Yeah, a little contact coming out of the S's. But yeah, Papa, as you were mentioning, Cornbread does switch over to the racing mediums, but did not fill up the fuel tank. So he will likely have to pit again unless he does some extreme fuel saving. Has just a little less than 50% left. So you watch B Pabst go around through the S's. Well done. All right, let's just run through the whole grid and see where everybody's at. We'll start off with Wid, who got around Florinota there at some point and is now leading this race with a 1-second lead. Florinota back in P2, but with a healthy 6.7 second lead over PHG Sheldologist, currently running in P3 on a bit of an island. You can see him getting around some lap traffic there. P4, we got Miss Covington, who appears to be coming to the pits. Going to get off of those racing mediums. P5 is Talon, followed closely by S7R's The Truth Serum, who was in P6, now promoted to P5 after Mist went into the pits. And then B Pabst is bringing up the rear of the Group 1 field. Has lost quite a bit of time to The Truth Serum. Had been hanging with the rest of the group, was running in P3 early on in this race, and appears to have had some trouble. All right, so P1 in the Group 3 class currently is hovercraft due to the fact that Jorge has taken a pit already. But in P9 right behind still has Oak following him. These two have been racing together quite tight. And we had almost 3 wide heading into the chicane with Wid and Florinoda getting around Oak. They both got around before the chicane.
Oh, somebody got squirrely out there. Looks like it was Oak.
Yep, Oak's dropped back a little bit. Did we catch a replay of that? Let's see here. As they're coming to the chicane, there we watch the Group 1s get around as it comes out of the chicane, heading up the hill. Oh, yep, it's a little bit sideways. Kept it pointed straight for the most part, but probably lost a couple tenths getting through that last sector there. But all right, so we've got Oak currently running P2 in the Group 3 class, and there's Jorge, 2.4 seconds back after having pitted, still sitting in P3, running on the softs, may end up pitting around the same time as those medium runners. And then S7R's Mr. Racing, currently running in P4 in the Group 3 class, followed by Drobo, P5, S7R's Nuke in P6, and Cornbread back in P7. Man, Cornbread really had a chance to do the one-stopper here and maybe save some time in the pits, having switched to the racing mediums had he filled up the tank, but he didn't fill up the tank. Is that a mistake, Papa? What do you think?
You know, I'm not sure it is, because obviously he's going to have to pit again. I would assume he's going to go back onto the racing softs and only take about half a tank of fuel.
You know, that would make sense. And that way he's running more of the race on a lower tank of fuel. I hadn't thought of that.
Right. So we'll have to see how that plays out. But that's going to be my guess. When he pits again, he'll come back out on the softs, do his second stint. So just an update on Mixon Covington during his pit, where we're going through the field. He did come in, change his racing mediums to racing softs, but he also took no fuel.
Okay, so that's going to be another 2-stop runner. Got the mediums out of the way first, and we'll probably be running softs all the way to the end. Jorge, right on the back of Oak, has caught back up. Fresh set of softs, low fuel, putting in some decent lap times for sure.
Oak looked like he went wide a little bit.
And Oak loses it. Oak, I think, was a little upset. You saw him flashing the lights at Jorge. Let's watch this here as he gets through. I couldn't tell if there was a little bit of a tap. Oak went wide. And we could see if we look back at him.
I don't think there was contact.
I think we might have another angle of this here.
Get on through. Nope, doesn't look like there's any contact. Oak just trying to keep it on. And then, got into the grass as he hit the brakes and sent the rear end around. Probably a little bit of frustration there in losing the position. May have caused him to have yet another issue.
I mean, we know Oak too. That could have been a good pass. Flash.
Yeah, and we all know too with these Porsches, with it, this is the newer Porsche, I believe, and with it being, rear-engined, yes, it is stable in the corners until it's not. You know, you lift off at the wrong time, and that tail end is going to send you sideways.
Well, it looked like we might have had another really close racing there heading into turn 1. Jorge getting around Hovercraft. As they approached turn 1, it looked like they got really close. Let's check in with that again. They're going to come down the front stretch. Gets the run here. As they come in, if there was contact, it was just barely. Everybody kept it straight. Jorge drives on by. Well, there we go. Jorge back into the lead.
Yep.
Even though he has taken a pit stop. We'll know if they've got their way around the lap traffic. They seem to be navigating it pretty good. We haven't seen a lot of issues between the Group 1 and the Group 3 cars thus far, which, I mean, this is split one. These are the best of the best as far as the PHG World Series goes.
Truth serum off track.
Ooh, what position? P4, it looks
P4.
like.
Yep.
Oh, now back to P5. There he is. Yep, and he's already spun out.
But see how he's
But
just...
he's just sitting there.
Yeah,
so
that
he
looks like
may...
a mechanical failure to me. I've been victim of that a time or two myself, just by the way he kind of rolled back and everything. That really looks to me like some kind of a equipment failure.
Yeah.
It looks like he is back under power now, heading into the pits. But, yeah, unfortunate for the Truth Serum. I think a lot of these medium runners, I mean, if they can make their way down to the 20-minute mark, they should be really safe to run the softs the rest of the way. Anybody who pits a little earlier is going to get more laps on the soft tire, but they're going to be worn. Sheldologists heading into the pits now with 24 minutes left to go.
C-Dubs, we are doing great. I hope your recliner nap was good. I hope you're enjoying the broadcast, and I hope all of you are enjoying the broadcast. Make sure you smash that like button.
Oak and Racing and P10, P11 side by side for position. Oak was
Racing just staying slight ahead of him.
Yeah. Oak was up beside him, but Mr. Racing was able to hold him off. But Oak is definitely pushing him.
And if you remember, these two were teammates in IRO last year. So these guys very well aware of how they race together. Oak all over the back of them, again going side by side, heading into the bottom of the turkey leg. Mr. Racing later on the brakes, able to keep that lead. Let's see how they get the exit through the turkey leg. Oak all the way up alongside. Big bobble by Mr. Racing coming out of it, which gives Oak the lead. But now Mr. Racing has the slipstream. We'll see if that allows him to get caught up by the time they get to the chicane. He is starting to close that gap ever so slightly. We'll see who is the late breaker here as Florinota goes by in the Group 1 car. Does not allow him to get and look to the inside. Oak getting really loose coming out of the chicane, but Oak going to dive into the pits. So he... All right, let's see if we can catch that overtake again. We go watch him at the bottom of the turkey leg again. Oak right behind, going for the better exit here, taking the ideal racing line. Saw Mr. Racing get really sideways going through there, which allowed Oak to have the drive off of the corner and gets that pass done. It's Covington not going into the pits quite yet. Jorge into the pits for a second time. About 21 minutes left to go.
Yeah. This will definitely be his last. He should come out on the mediums, probably half tank fuel.
All right, so Florinota, our pole sitter, back up in the lead. 1.3 second gap to Miss Covington. A bigger gap to Wid. You know, Wid had been hanging with Florinota for the first half of this race. Now has a bit of a gap to make up. But yeah, Miss Covington probably going to be coming in here very shortly. And correct me if I'm wrong, is going to need to run the mediums. Or no, or is going to be coming in for another set of softs. He started on the mediums, didn't he?
Yeah, all the GT ones started on mediums.
Yeah.
Jorge did come out on mediums. He's just over half tank of fuel. Hovercraft right behind him came out on the softs with just under half a tank of fuel. So let's see if Hovercraft can run down Jorge.
Yeah, now that he has the tire advantage, that's the time to try to make up some time. Wid, 2.8 seconds to the leader. Once Mitz comes in. So with 20 minutes to go, half a tank of fuel, some fresh racing softs. Wid is probably good to go to the end. Yeah. Is Florida, I forgot to check, is Florinota in the same situation with good tires and good fuel?
He came in a couple laps earlier, but he is on softs just over half a tank of fuel.
All right, so his softs are going to wear just a little bit earlier than Wid's.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Wid's got 20 minutes to try to catch up. Maybe get a pass done in the last couple of laps. We'll see how this unfolds. He's closing in on him. He may know that Mitz needs to pit, but goes for the pass, heading into the chicane. Oh, a little bit of contact.
Oh,
Oh, Mitt's getting really loose trying to come get around that final corner. Mitt's finally he's
oh
not
yeah.
going to go into the pits.
Yeah,
Mitt's
I
staying
think
out for another lap.
I think
How
what
is
Mitz,
he doing this?
I think he meant to go into the pits there, but he was afraid he was going to cut the line, and he brought it back to the track.
We've got the replay here. Here they are going into the turkey leg. Let's see if... Oh, there's the bump. Heading in, and then as they head on out... Yeah, at this point, they need to get all the way down to the end of the long straightaway before we get to the chicane. But Wid was staying right tucked up underneath them. Let's see if we've got this replay all the way to the end or not. Because here they are, heading into the chicane. And just a little bit of a bump on corner entry there. Just enough to get them loose. And yeah, Mitt's trying to... Yep, definitely cut over the line. You called it, Chuck. Going around one more time. I hope he is out of fuel.
Yep,
He's fuel on the backstretch.
Oh no!
So this is going to cost him a lot more time than that 3-second pen would have.
Pete Pabst just about rear-ended him there.
Well, that is heartbreaking.
Yeah, it is.
The only thing you can really do is keep it off the racing line so you don't ruin anybody else's race, and limp it around as oh my goodness, what reaction time, my lord. Just keep it off the racing line and try not to ruin anybody else's race, and get you back to the pits so you can hop off.
Drobo on the racing softs, about halfway worn. Nuke also on the softs, but tires in much better condition. So Nuke may have the grip advantage here. Try to get around, especially heading into the chicane. You see Talon in the Group 1 car go around.
Yeah, Talon holding 4-second lead over Sheldon just for that podium finish. 15 seconds behind Witt, though. I don't think he'll be able to catch him. So right now, if I'm Talon, I'm just racing to hold that podium. Stay ahead of Shell, which we know is no easy task.
Yeah, 4.2 seconds with less than 10 minutes to go is a healthy gap, but it is not a fail-safe by any means.
Right.
He still has to not make any mistakes.
Right. I was going to say, one slip and that 4-second turns into 2.
I mean, now that we're into the final 10 minutes, this is going to be full try-hard mode for all these drivers. They've been at it for 50 minutes. They've certainly established their flow for the race. They're all comfortable with what their cars can do. So now is the point in time where everybody's probably going to be the fastest. And I just noticed that Wid has taken the fastest lap with a 106.652. So, Florinoda being a little impatient with hovercraft there, which has allowed Wid to really close that gap. He was a 1.8 second lead. It is now only a quarter of a second as they head to the bottom of the turkey leg. Florinoda got Jorge right ahead of him. Our 2 lead cars for Group 1 and Group 3. Florinoda was able to get a better exit out of the bottom of the turkey leg and had put a little bit of a gap on Wid, but Wid in that slipstream is closing it back down ever so slightly. They go into the chicane. It's like Florinoda had a much better exit and run through that chicane than Wid did. It gained 0.2, but then on exit, Wid comes back and has gotten it back under a half a second. They are yo-yoing this gap here. Leaders are coming up on these guys as well. Nuke has extended that lead over Drobo. So after getting that pass out, they were side by side back at the Group 1s, right next to Florinoda, but they get through as they get into the S's, but now they've got Nuke holding them both up. Are either of them going to push the issue and try to make the pass? No, they're both patient. Come out of this corner onto the short straightaway. Still nose to tail. That really bunched them up. This could be the opportunity for Wid if he can stay tucked up behind him and get a good exit out of this corner here, which he does. He's closing the gap. Oh yeah, Florinota's tires are down. Wid with better tire heading into the heavy braking zone of the chicane. Less than 2/10. Let's see if he can make this pass done.
He really just
this last couple of laps are going to be real interesting here.
Yeah.
Doesn't quite go for it yet.
And there it
Still
is.
being patient.
There it is.
Oh,
no.
better exit. There it is. Gets the
Set
pass
that up
done.
nicely.
That was a good setup.
Yeah.
And he made him think that he was going for the pass in the chicane, and then he just backed out of it.
Yep.
Got the better exit out of the chicane, which is an easier pass to do than in the braking zone. Well done, Wid. Sheldologist trying to run him down, but with only 2 minutes left to go, has a 3.3 second gap to make. And Shell's tires are have seen better days as well. Down to about a quarter of that front left to go. Ooh, some contact with Drobo. Drobo into the wall after the contact with the Group 1 car of Sheldologist. Let's watch this as Sheldo, as he's coming by, he's going to take the outside, waits for Drobo to cut in. Does, but Drobo, it just sort of like floats out. Sheldo was able to keep it pointed in the right direction, but Drobo, his car got loose. He didn't spin it all the way around, but into the
Could that be a tire wear issue probably from Drobo? What do you guys think?
Very
yeah,
possible.
quite possibly. Yeah, that final corner in a Group 3 car, if you keep it pinned, you need the whole track to make that work. With worn tires and a car to your outside, yeah, I mean, that little bit of contact may have been just enough to kind of send the car around. Only a minute to go. He's only going to have to go one more lap around, thankfully, because those tires are dead zone. Jorge, though, well out in front, 4.3 second lead over Hovercraft. Again, with only like one more lap to go. Looks like Jorge, as long as he doesn't make any mistakes, Jorge is human.
I don't know if he's going to make one more lap with that fuel.
This fuel is very low. But we did see Miss Covington run like 2 more laps with the fuel blinking. And it was that 3rd lap that finally did him in. There we go, Hovercraft going down the backstretch. His teammate S7R Wid, currently in the lead in the Group 1 class, gets around. Heading to the start-finish line with 7 seconds left, looking like we're going to have one more victory lap here for Wid. He's going to cross the line. Florinota going to come across after time has expired. Florinota going to take the checkered flag for P2.
Oh, Hovercraft. He made it because he just crossed the line right as time expired. Oath will be just fine too because he was pretty low. With
Talon
no
coming across the line in P3. Sheldologist comes across the line in P4. 19-second lead over B-Paps, who's still on the backstretch. As the Truth Serum only a half second behind. Looks like may not quite have enough time to get that pass done. B-Paps going to come across to P5. The Truth Serum, P6. And Miss Covington right behind in P7 as well. Didn't realize they were right there. But it looks like Jorge and Wid are winners in the Group 1 and Group 3 class. Both timed it perfectly that they get a parade lap.
Right?
Nice and easy. Go around the track. Well done. S7R's Wid, PHG's Jorge Sr.
Yes.
On their win in their respective classes here at Road Atlanta.
We have Sector 7's Wid with also the best lap with the 106.652 with best lap for the race. But he comes in P1. Congratulations. Right behind him, we have Florinota. P3 is Talon, finishing up the podiums. Nice job, you guys. P4, Mr. PHG Sheldologist. P5 is Mr. B Pabst. P6 is Sector 7's The Truth Serum. And rounding out the Group 1 GT1 class, we have Mix Covington coming in P7. Then the winner of the Group 3 cars, we have Jorge Sr. Sector 7's Hovercraft right behind him. Sector 7 Mr. Racing in P3. K Naranjo or Oak in P4. Sector 7 Nuke in P5. Drobo in P6. And rounding up that for the Group 3 field, we have VIP Cornbread, P7.